Carles Puigdemont, the leader of Catalonia, has requested mediation over his region's status in Spain. Samuel Aranda for the New York Times. Barcelona, Spain. The standoff over Catalonia intensified significantly on Thursday as the Spanish government said it would take emergency measures to halt a secessionist drive in the economically vital and politically restive northeastern region. The announcement came almost immediately after the Catalan leader, Carles Puigdemont, facing a second deadline to clarify Catalonia's intentions since it held an October 1 referendum on independence, warned that regional lawmakers were prepared to break from Spain. The government in Madrid, in turn, announced that it would convene an emergency cabinet meeting on Saturday to defend the general interest of Spaniards, among them the citizens of Catalonia. The rapid succession of events moved what was already one of the gravest crises in Spain's relatively young democracy to a far more serious and unpredictable stage, with the prospect that Madrid could take over the running of Catalonia. At the most extreme, the Spanish government could arrest Mr. Puigdemont and charge him with sedition, as it has done with two other separatist leaders. But such a step would risk provoking a popular backlash and new street demonstrations in a region where many are already bridling at what they see as a heavy hand by the government of Prime Minister Mariano Rajoy. A bad situation has become even worse today, said Argelia Queralt, a professor of constitutional law at the University of Barcelona. Neither side seems really willing to yield an inch, which means there is only a very limited chance of any positive outcome to this conflict. The Catalan government has said that 90% of those who voted in the referendum supported independence. But Mr. Rajoy's government and the courts had declared the vote illegal, and the police officers sent to block polling places wounded hundreds in clashes. Only about 40% of the Catalan electorate took part, after Madrid advised those who opposed secession to stay away from polling stations. The latest statements from each side now move the dispute to the brink of a potentially explosive confrontation. Inigo Mende de Vigo, spokesman for the Spanish government, said at a news conference that Madrid was ready to use all the means within its reach to restore the legality and constitutional order as soon as possible, yet such steps are fraught with uncertainty in a country that adopted its democratic constitution only in 1978, after the death of its longtime dictator, Gen. Francisco Franco. Last week, Mr. Rajoy initiated a request to invoke a broad and forceful tool that has never before been used, Article 155 of the Spanish Constitution, which would allow him to take direct control of Catalonia. He said he could resort to such a step if Mr. Puigdemont did not clearly back down from a threat to declare independence. But on Thursday, Mr. Puigdemont sent a defiant letter to Mr. Rajoy, blaming him for escalating the conflict by refusing to meet and negotiate. If the government continues to prevent dialogue and maintains the repression, he wrote, the Parliament of Catalonia could go ahead, if it deems it opportune, and vote the formal declaration of independence. Officials in Madrid have repeatedly warned in recent days that Mr. Rajoy would consider anything short of a clear withdrawal of the Declaration of Independence to be unacceptable, after what he deemed an unsatisfactory response from Mr. Puigdemont on Monday. Article 155 would give Madrid the authority to suspend Mr. Puigdemont and other Catalan lawmakers, and to take charge of the region's autonomous administration, including the Catalan broadcaster and autonomous police force, although Mr. Rajoy has not publicly committed to an emergency intervention. It is unclear what Mr. Rajoy will propose to his cabinet on Saturday, but he may try to gradually raise pressure on the fragile coalition of Catalan separatists rather than risk a forceful intervention that could further galvanize the independence movement. José Luis Ábalos, an official from the main opposition Socialist Party, indicated at a news conference on Thursday that the party would support Mr. Rajoy, as long as the Prime Minister made limited and short use of Article 155, and also somehow kept self-government in Catalonia. Using constitutional powers, Mr. Rajoy could appoint a caretaker administration in Catalonia. Mr. Puigdemont, on the other hand, could face sedition charges and ultimately a long prison sentence for presenting a unilateral declaration of independence that violates Spain's constitution. Politicians in Madrid have recently demanded that Catalonia hold regional elections as soon as possible, but Mr. Puigdemont made no mention of such a vote in his letter on Thursday. The separatist leaders of Catalonia are already claiming that Madrid has used disproportionate means to push them out of office with the help of the Spanish police and the courts. About 200,000 demonstrators gathered on Tuesday in central Barcelona, according to the local police, to demand the release of two separatist leaders who were sent to prison without bail, pending a trial on sedition charges. In his letter on Thursday, Mr. Puigdemont mentioned the arrest of the two leaders as evidence of Spain's repressive stance. Catalonia, which has its own language and culture, is an important engine of the Spanish economy. Independence aspirations have built in recent years over a host of social and economic grievances. Those tensions grew, as Mr. Rajoy and Catalan leaders talked past one another, turning the kind of dispute that might have been diffused years ago into a full-blown constitutional crisis. The rising uncertainty and the threat of declaring independence have already prompted hundreds of companies to relocate their headquarters outside Catalonia, further straining the unwieldy separatist coalition that holds a majority of the seats in the regional parliament. Inigo Méndez de Vigo, spokesman for the Spanish government, said on Thursday that Madrid was ready to use all the means within its reach to restore the legality and constitutional order as soon as possible. Oscar del Pozo Agence France Press, Getty Images. Hardline secessionists want an abrupt and unilateral rupture with the central government in Madrid, while conservative and more moderate separatists are increasingly worried about the economic consequences for Catalonia. Luis de Guindos, the Spanish economy minister, told Parliament on Thursday that the relocation of Catalan companies was only an appetizer of what could happen if independence was confirmed, something that the government will not allow. Mr. Puigdemont sent his latest letter after an emergency meeting of his Conservative Party late Wednesday, during which lawmakers gave clear support for not withdrawing the Declaration of Independence, according to local news reports. Still, secessionism has divided Catalonia. Separatist parties won control of the regional parliament in 2015, but with only 48% of the vote. Núria Marin, the socialist mayor of Hospitalet de Llobregat, the second-largest city in Catalonia, just southwest of Barcelona, said on Thursday that politicians on both sides should take the blame for plunging Catalonia into a crisis. "I believe that with threats on the part of one side or the other, we want now solve this situation," she said. "We are sadly seeing that companies are leaving while we are sending letters to one another. Whatever the government decides on Saturday, the Catalan crisis is set to drag on." Mr. Rajoy would need approval from the Senate before intervening in Catalonia. Mr. Rajoy's governing Popular Party has a majority in the Senate, and Podemos, a far-left party, is the only major opposition group that is opposed to using Article 155 in Catalonia. Instead, Podemos has suggested that Spain should hold a nationwide referendum over Catalonia's future statehood. Pablo Iglesias, the leader of Podemos, said Thursday morning that Spain can't appear to be like a banana republic that has problems of democracy. He added, "We don't want to threaten or repress Catalonia, but we want to convince Catalonia that Spain is a collective project that is worth it." Follow Rafael Minder on Twitter at Rafael Minder.